Hi guys, today we're going to get even deeper into the psychology of that crazy blonde that tortured this little boy. You remember Маленький герой, Dostoyevsky? I'm going to remind you what happened there. I'm going to remind you or tell you if you haven't been with us so far. But please first open your printed materials. If you don't have them by any reason, please open the link below this video, but please make sure you do have it printed because we are learning here actively on this channel. Here's the only channel on YouTube, as far as I know, that teaches you Russian classics in its unadapted way, in its unadapted form, exactly as it was written. So it's a hard work. We're doing it fun way, but it's a hard work. So you need to be dedicated and you need to have your materials printed. And then it's going to be very easy for you to underline and above the expression to write its meaning. It's going to be much easier, much fun. But for today, if you don't have it printed, you can just open it on your screen and you can have a piece of paper and just copy the words and the phrases that you are not familiar with. Now, I'm going to show you where we stopped the last time, and then I'm going to briefly tell you the summary of what we have read so far. So please find the following place. The paragraph we will be starting with starts with this sentence. Он не стеснял ее ни в чем. Не стеснял ее ни в чем. So what you can do, you can just click Ctrl F. And then in the window, type the word стеснял. It's not a very common word. I don't think it repeats itself too often here in this piece of literature. So it will bring you right here. You see, он не стеснял ее ни в чем. We're going to start from here. And we're going to finish today with его дружбу. So basically, we're going to read, please look at the screen. We're going to read this passage. Yeah? Now, what happened here so far? The narrator of the story is an 11-year-old boy. And he's present at a very, very big party near Moscow. And at the same party, there is a young blonde woman, 20 and something years old. And this woman, when this 11-year-old boy meets this woman, she starts behaving in a kind of a crazy way with the boy. She literally makes him crazy. She grabs his fingers, breaks them, or at least she's trying to break them. She embarrasses him, etc. And there is a very, very bizarre, very strange, quite a bizarre relationship between that young lady and this 11-year-old boy. And last time, he told us about the husband of that lady, because she's a married woman. And we started, so he basically told us that her husband loved her a lot. And more than that, our last sentence was this one. I hope you remember it. Он мало того, что любил жену до слабости, до жалости, он просто поклонялся ей как идолу. So we said the last time, до слабости, до жалости would mean a lot. Literally, until weakness, until pity. But it just says a lot. So not only did he love his wife a lot, he simply, you remember the word поклонялся from the last lesson? Поклонялся means worshipped. So he simply worshipped her as an idol. So that was our last sentence the last time. Now I'm gonna read today's part. Please try to spot your your level of comprehension now. And then I'm going to read it again towards the end of the lesson. And you're going to see a very, very big difference. You're going to surprise yourself. At least I hope so. So look, try to understand as much as I can, but even if you don't, just listen to the music of the language. Он не стеснял ее ни в чем. Друзей и подруг у ней было множество. Во-первых, ее мало кто не любил. А во-вторых, ветреница и сама была не слишком разборчива в выборе друзей своих. Хотя в основе ее характера было гораздо более серьезного, чем сколько можно предположить, судя по тому, что я теперь рассказал. Но из всех подруг своих она всех больше любила и отличала одну молодую даму, свою дальнюю родственницу, которая теперь тоже была в нашем обществе. Между ними была какая-то нежная, утонченная связь. Одна из тех связей, которые зарождаются иногда при встрече двух характеров, часто совершенно противоположных друг другу, но из которых один и строже, и глубже, и чище другого, тогда как другой с высоким смирением и с благородным чувством самооценки любовно подчиняется ему, почувствовав все превосходство его над собою, и как счастье заключает в сердце своем его дружбу. So guys, what was the percentage of your understanding, in your opinion? Probably for many of you not a lot, but that's absolutely fine, because right now we're going to clarify every unknown word and expression, especially more difficult ones. But you will get everything because I'm going to translate every sentence anyway. So let's start. So this little kid, an 11-year-old boy, the narrator, is talking about the husband of that a little crazy lady. Он не стеснял ее ни в чем. Стеснял, it's a literary word, and it means limited. In more like common speech, the word would be ограничивал. But here that's стеснял. So он не стеснял ее ни в чем. He, like meaning her husband, didn't limit her in anything. Друзей и подруг у нее было множество. Множество is the same as много. And so what does it say? У ней было, it means she had, right? You could say у нее было or у ней было, it's the same. So she had a lot of, yeah, множество, много, the same. She had a lot of friends and girlfriends, yeah? Друзья, friends, подруги, girlfriends. So друзей и подруг у нее было множество. She had a lot of friends and girlfriends. But in Russian, the structure of the sentence is friends and girlfriends she had a lot. Во-первых, ее мало кто не любил. А во-вторых, ветреница и сама была не слишком разборчива в выборе друзей своих. So, во-первых means first of all. Во-вторых means second of all. Ее мало кто не любил. So, мало кто не, it means almost everyone. It looks to you like a negation, but actually it's not. Because ее мало кто не любил, meaning almost everyone liked her. But literally in Russian, little who didn't like her. Yeah? Мало кто не любил ее. Ее мало кто не любил. Little who didn't like her. But it means almost everyone liked her. There weren't a lot of people who didn't like her. А во-вторых, ветреница и сама была не слишком разборчива в выборе друзей своих. So, во-вторых, as we said, second of all, ветреница is a kind of a light-minded, silly woman. It's an obsolete word, but it comes from ветер, wind. So, she's like-minded. Ветреница и сама была не слишком разборчива в выборе друзей своих. So, ветреница и сама means this like-minded woman herself. И сама, you can underline it together, herself. But you could also say ветреница сама. It's the same. Была не слишком разборчива. Не слишком means not too, or not too much. Не слишком. And разборчива means picky. So she herself wasn't too picky в выборе друзей своих. Выбор means choice. In the choice of her friends. So let's read up to here. Во-первых, ее мало кто не любил. А во-вторых, ветреница и сама была не слишком разборчива в выборе друзей своих. First of all, there weren't many people who didn't like her. And second of all, this light-minded woman herself was not too picky in the choice of her friends. And we continue. Хотя в основе ее характера было гораздо более серьезного, чем сколько можно предположить, судя по тому, что я теперь рассказал. Хотя means even though, в основе in the basis. Характер, character, like traits of personality. Было гораздо более серьезного. So, гораздо более, it's a literary expression. It means much more of something. Much more of something. So, in this case, гораздо более серьезного, that would be much more of serious things, or much more seriousness. Yeah, much more seriousness, чем сколько можно предположить, than how it's possible to guess. Yeah, предположить, to guess. Судя по тому, что я теперь рассказал. Судя по тому, что, it's an expression, means judging according to what, da-da-da-da-da. So, judging according to what. Теперь means now. It's like сейчас. И рассказал, said or told. So, let's see how it works here. The second part of this sentence. Хотя в основе ее характера было гораздо более серьезного, чем сколько можно предположить, судя по тому, что я теперь рассказал. Even though at the basis of her character there was much more seriousness, or much more of the serious stuff than the amount you could guess. So, сколько можно, you could say that's the amount you could. So, the amount you could guess, судя по тому, что я теперь рассказал, judging according to what I have just told you. Yeah? Now, this sentence is not very easy. I'm going to read it again in Russian and translate all of that in English. And you are welcome to pause your lesson now and to review this sentence again and again, either by yourself or just rewind back and listen again to my explanations. And if you still have anything unclear, just post the question down below and we will just clarify it next time. So look how it works. Во-первых, ее мало кто не любил. А во-вторых, ветреница и сама была не слишком разборчива в выборе друзей своих. хотя в основе ее характера было гораздо более серьезного, чем сколько можно предположить, судя по тому, что я теперь рассказал. First of all, there were not many people who didn't like her. And second of all, the light-minded woman herself was not very picky in the choice of her friends. Even though at the basis of her character, there was much more of serious stuff than the amount you could guess judging by what I have just told you. I hope that's clear. And now we have another quite a long sentence. Но из всех подруг своих она всех больше любила и отличала одну молодую даму, свою дальнюю родственницу, которая теперь тоже была в нашем обществе. So what do we have here? Отличала means distinguished. Отличала. So любила и отличала одну молодую даму. We'll translate that. So she liked and distinguished one young lady. Свою дальнюю родственницу. So дальнюю родственницу means far relative. Yeah, родственница means a female relative. Дальнюю родственницу means far female relative, которая теперь тоже была в нашем обществе. So общество in this case means company. In other cases it might mean society. So которая теперь тоже была в нашем обществе, we'll translate that now was also in our society. So what does it say? Но из всех подруг своих она всех больше любила и отличала одну молодую даму. But out of all of her girlfriends, she more than anyone else. By the way, всех больше, more than anybody else, more than anyone else. So she more than anyone else loved and distinguished one young lady. Свою дальнюю родственницу, her far relative, которая теперь тоже была в нашем обществе, that was now also in our company. And then we have our last but a very, very long sentence. Just a second. Yeah, you see? So all that is one sentence. So you can sip your coffee, smile, disconnect from your problems, breathe deeply, and let's start with this long one. Между ними была какая-то нежная, утонченная связь. So, между ними, between them, among them, какая-то means some kind of. Нежная comes from нежный, which is gentle. Утонченная means like exquisite or subtle. So, therefore, look, между ними была какая-то нежная, утонченная связь. Between them, there was some kind of a gentle and exquisite connection. Связь means connection. Одна из тех связей, которые зарождаются иногда при встрече двух характеров, часто совершенно противоположных друг другу. Зарождаются means are born. Характеров means personalities. Совершенно completely. Противоположных means opposite. So, одна из тех связей, one of those connections, которые зарождаются иногда при встрече двух характеров, which is born sometimes with the meetings of two personalities, часто совершенно противоположных друг другу, often completely opposite to each other. So, I will read this first part in Russian and in English. Между ними была какая-то нежная, утонченная связь. одна из тех связей, которые зарождаются иногда при встрече двух характеров, часто совершенно противоположных друг другу. So, between them, there was a kind of a gentle and exquisite connection. One of those connections that are born sometimes with the meeting of two characters or two personalities, often completely opposite to each other. And we continue. Но из которых один и строже, и глубже, и чище другого. Из которых means out of whom. Out of whom. One is строже, comes from strogi, which is strict. So строже means stricter, more strict. Глубже comes from глубокий, which is deep. Therefore, глубже is deeper, or more profound, you could say. Чище comes from чистый, which is clean or pure. So чище would be more pure than, and другого the other. So look how it works. Но из которых один и строже, и глубже, и чище другого. But out of whom one is stricter and more profound and more pure than the other. Тогда как другой с высоким смирением и с благородным чувством самооценки любовно подчиняется ему. So, тогда как, it means while, or at the same time when. Yeah? Тогда как, while. Другой, the other. С высоким смирением. So, смирение means humility. Yeah? Please write down. Смирение, humility. So, с высоким смирением would be with high humility, with big humility. И с благородным чувством самооценки. So, благородный means noble. Благородный. Чувство means feeling. And самооценка means self-esteem. Yeah? Because sama means self, оценка esteem. So самооценки, self-esteem. So if you do something с благородным чувством самооценки, you are doing it with the noble feeling of self-esteem. Любовно подчиняется ему. So любовно means with love. Подчиняется, obey, to obey. Подчиняться means to obey. Ему, him. Now let's see how it works here. How it works so far. Please follow me. Just a second. Подчиняется ему. Okay. Now you will get it. Между ними была какая-то нежная утонченная связь. Одна из тех связей, которые зарождаются иногда при встрече двух характеров, часто совершенно противоположных друг другу, но из которых один и строже, и глубже, и чище другого, тогда как другой с высоким смирением и с благородным чувством самооценки любовно подчиняется ему. So, you remember who they are talking about? They are talking about that a little bit crazy lady who tortured this poor boy and her far relative. Between them, there was a kind of a gentle and exquisite connection. One of those connections that are born sometimes with the meeting of two characters, often completely opposite to each other, out of whom one is more strict and more profound and more pure than the other, while the other, with great humility and with the noble feeling of self-esteem, with love, obeys him. So любовно means with love, and basically he says that the other relative, the other girl, was stricter and more profound and more pure than that crazy, a little bit crazy blonde. But that blonde actually obeyed with in a loving way. She obeyed her far relative without losing her self-esteem. Basically, that's the meaning. But just wait a bit, because we are going to read all of it again, all of this sentence. Don't worry. So, любовно подчиняется ему. So, with love obeys him, or her in this case, почувствовав все превосходство его над собою. So, почувствовав means while feeling. Почувствовав. While feeling. Превосходство means superiority. Therefore, почувствовав все превосходство его над собою, rather, почувствовав, you can make a mark with v, you can just skip it in your pronunciation, почувствовав. Все превосходство его над собою. So, feeling all the superiority of him above himself. Yeah? Meaning, if we talk about those two ladies, that light-minded girl felt the superiority of her sister above herself. И как счастье заключает в сердце своем его дружбу. So, счастье means, obviously, happiness. Now, заключает, in this case, it has lots of meaning. But in this case, it means to enclose, to enshrine. Enclose somewhere. So, заключает в сердце своем его дружбу means encloses in his, or in this case, in her heart, his friendship. Just notice that Dostoevsky here uses masculine form. Его, yeah, because he's talking about a general kind of general state of things. But basically he means those two girls, those two women. So he's saying его дружбу, but we can basically extrapolate that onto those girls, and that would be ее дружбу, because he's talking about the girls. So again, speaking about those two women, we can understand from here that this a little bit crazy young woman actually really cherished her friendship with that other woman that he mentioned. Okay, guys, now we're going to read again this long sentence so that you get the whole picture. And after that, we're going to have the second reading of all the passage. And by the way, below the video, I'm going to mark the point where I start this whole reading, in case you would like to repeat it several times. So you will just click on what you will see there below the video on certain time, and then it will start this whole passage again. You can just play with it. You will see. It's cool. You will be able to repeat my reading again and again and again. Just the whole passage. But first of all, let's do this sentence. This one. Между ними была какая-то нежная, утонченная связь. Одна из тех связей, которые зарождаются иногда при встрече двух характеров, часто совершенно противоположных друг другу, но из которых один и строже, и глубже, и чище другого, тогда как другой с высоким смирением и с благородным чувством самооценки любовно подчиняется ему, почувствовав все превосходство его над собою, и как счастье заключает в сердце своем его дружбу. Okay, guys, now let's translate, just little correction. Зарождаются, the more precise meaning is not like are born, but are starting, are conceived, yeah? So I will just translate that as start or begin. So please follow me. between them, there was a kind of a gentle and subtle connection. One of those connections that begin sometimes with the meeting of two characters, often completely opposite to each other, but out of whom one is stricter and more profound and more pure than the other, while the other, with the great humility and with the noble feeling of self-esteem, with love obeys him, feeling all the superiority of him above himself. And as happiness encloses or enshrines in his heart his friendship. That was this long sentence. And now, guys, let's read this whole part. So I will just mark it, just a second. Yeah. And now you will get it much, much better. But again, you are welcome to play it again and again and again. Just scroll after the lesson, just scroll below this video. You will see the mark. You just click on it. It's like an anchor point, right? So you will just click on it and it will repeat just this reading again and again and again. But right now I'm going to read it slowly. Он не стеснял ее ни в чем. Друзей и подруг у ней было множество. Во-первых, ее мало кто не любил. А во-вторых, ветреница и сама была не слишком разборчива в выборе друзей своих. Хотя в основе ее характера было гораздо более серьезного, чем сколько можно предположить, судя по тому, что я теперь рассказал. Но из всех подруг своих она всех больше любила и отличала одну молодую даму, свою дальнюю родственницу, которая теперь тоже была в нашем обществе. Между ними была какая-то нежная, утонченная связь. Одна из тех связей, которые зарождаются иногда при встрече двух характеров, часто совершенно противоположных друг другу, но из которых один и строже, и глубже, и чище другого, тогда как другой с высоким смирением и с благородным чувством самооценки любовно подчиняется ему, почувствовав все превосходство его над собою, и как счастье заключает в сердце своем его дружбу. So that is the part. I hope your understanding is much, much better now. Just wanted to ask you, if you have these materials printed, there are twice the word всё here, that where you need to put those two dots above ye. So, no, actually what I meant is twice there is word её. Can you see that? So, во-первых, её. So, you need to put two dots below the second ye, so that it becomes её. And the same thing is two lines from there, её характера. So it's the same. Okay, guys, so please go below this video, click again on this anchor point of time, and it will repeat this whole reading. And if you need private lessons, one-on-one, you can contact me with the contact details below this video. We will have our first lesson for free, and you will get lots of instructions at the first lesson, and then you will continue. It's no obligation, so you are not obliged to continue. But you can just take this first lesson for free. That's my gift from me to you. So don't hesitate, you can contact me, and we will have our Zoom meeting. And another thing, please watch my previous video about Lengua. It's an AI software. I work in cooperation with them, and it might help you get to your 1,000 of spoken hours of Russian and gain your fluency. Okay, guys. Love you, and we'll see each other at the next lesson. Ciao, ciao.